What I want to talk about on today's call is the state of marketing, the power of focus, Facebook advertising, the best 3 sales questions, video marketing, the importance of faces.
This call is being recorded.
All right, so what I want to talk about today, guys, is the power of focus and the importance of faces. You know, we ran Curaytor for more than 3 years without having any offices. And in the last 12 months, we're actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary of opening offices in Boston and in Orlando. And there's been some pros and cons that come with that. And it's been really fascinating to sort of watch, you know, how people work remotely versus people that work in the office versus some of the people that kind of have a hybrid role where sometimes they're at home and sometimes they're in the office. And so I started researching like this concept of how much time do we actually put in when we work an 8-hour day? How many hours do we work when we're at the office versus when we're at home? And why is there even an 8-hour day, by the way, which is something I think is pretty fascinating. So I did some homework, and basically in the late 18th century, so in the late 1700s, 10 to 16-hour workdays were normal because factories had to run 24/7 to put out the amount of merchandise that was in demand. Well, this guy named Robert Owen, he was a Welsh activist. He basically came up with a slogan in 1817 where he ran and he said 8 hours of labor, 8 hours of recreation, and 8 hours of rest is the perfect balance. And so, and that was kind of the first ever kind of mention of an 8-hour workday. Well, in 1914, Ford, obviously everyone knows Ford, Henry Ford, Ford Motor Company. In 1914, Henry Ford decided to do 2 things at the same time. He decided to reduce the number of hours people worked to 8, while at the same time paying them more. And what happened was that the increase in productivity was immediate and obvious. So he had a plant where people worked less and made more, and their output was higher. All the other plants, people worked more, they made less, their output was not more. And the reason for that, a lot of times, you guys, is if you look at what do we do during the 8 hours we're in an office, what is it that we actually spend our time on when we kind of, quote unquote, go to work? And I thought it was fascinating. The first stat is this: how much time do we actually work? So if we go to the office and we go to 97 Salem Street, or you come into the Avalon Park location, the average employee works for 2 hours and 53 minutes during an 8-hour workday. So we don't even put in work for half of that day. And there was an analysis done where they break down sort of, well, what were the other 8 hours? What is it that we're doing with the rest of that time? I'll give you a couple of them. Number 1, we spend over 1 hour and 5 minutes reading the news. So whether you're going on CNN or whether you're reading news on Twitter, we spend over an hour of our day every day consuming content. We also spend almost an hour on social media, 45 minutes on social media. So you figure you got 2 hours of your day that's going towards reading the news and checking social media. You've got another 40 minutes where you're discussing non-work related things with coworkers. So between checking social media, reading the news, and chatting with our coworkers, it actually ends up being almost 3 hours of our day. Some other ones are in there like eating and texting or making coffee, things of that nature. Smoke breaks, by the way, 23 minutes for smoke breaks for people who smoke. So I just thought it was interesting to analyze, like, what is it that we actually do with our time? And so the reason Logan can work at Starbucks from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., and get more done than he does from 8:30 to 4:30 in the office is quite simply because when you're at Starbucks by yourself, you get in the zone. And you don't check news sites as often. You don't check social media as often. You're not talking about stuff with coworkers as often that make you want to do those things. Literally, you can get as much work done 3 hours alone as you can 8 hours amongst people. So this is where working from home would win. This is why in Orlando, the marketers work from home 2 days a week. This is why Tyler's at home 4 days a week. This is why Annette, who just got hired, is going to work at home 2 days a week. Because you can be insanely productive alone. And being around people does have a downside. But here's the downside to isolation. Because I worked remotely for 9 years, and while it sounds great to get to work from home, it's not always great. Working from home can be depressing. Working from home can be lonely. Working from home can create really big challenges with your family and work life. Like when you finish your last call at 5:34, and then you're talking to your kids at 5:34 and a half, it's kind of hard to change mindsets. Like a lot of people that actually work from home, when they're done working from home, they will go on a 20-minute drive before they actually start communicating with their family because you need a buffer between working at home. In fact, 62% of employees who work remotely said that they found telecommuting to be socially isolating. And I can't agree more. You know, it's fun to work at home, but it can sometimes be scary. And this is a quote from Fast Company. There are moments of loneliness. That deck I'm working on, the copy I just wrote, while I can email it to a friend or Slack it, there's no one in person to sit, review, collaborate, iterate. I can't exactly have my dog review it. The companionship that you get by going into an office and developing live relationships is something that I miss. 34% of connected workers said they would be likely to work from home if they could. Meanwhile, 53% of the people that do work at home have said it's caused family conflicts because there's no balance between work and private time. So I would just say, for those of you at the office, be careful what you wish for. Because, yeah, you can be more productive at home, but you're also going to be lonely. It's not fun. Like, there's power in focus, but there's also power in faces. So the action item is very simple. If you're working remotely right now, Holly, Julie, Krista, Darren, Mike, I'm talking to you. You need to go to the offices once per quarter. You need to schedule a week a quarter where you're around your coworkers, because the energy and the enthusiasm and the culture and the camaraderie that creates is inarguable. But if you're one of our in-office employees and you are going to the office every single day and you're finding yourself struggling to get all your work done in time, you need to work at home, go to the beach, go to Starbucks. Like, I would be so grateful that I worked for a company that was this open-minded about remote versus in-office working. But there's power in focus. There's also power in faces. The last thing I want to say is I had a great experience at the Apple store this weekend. It's totally unrelated to what I just said. But I think it's really important that we try to emulate the companies we admire. You know, that was a big part of people work, was like, everybody loves Apple. Everybody loves Zappos. Everybody loves Evernote. Everybody loves Dropbox. Why? What are the specific tactical things those companies do that create that love? We don't want our customers to like us. We want our customers to love us. Period. And one of the things Apple does, and this was so cool, I went to the Apple store and I needed a dongle, right? Everybody hates that they have to buy these dongles, and I do too. As someone who travels and speaks and has to hook his computer up a lot to projectors, dongles suck. They're too expensive. You lose them. You forget them. They're cheap. They don't work, but they're a necessary evil. So I went to the Apple store. All I wanted was a dongle. And when I went to pay for the dongles, I went to use Apple Pay. If you guys haven't used Apple Pay, it's a game changer. I freaking love it. If somebody takes it, I use it. It's simple, it's quick, and it's safe. Well, I went to buy the dongles with Apple Pay, and I told the guy, hey, you know what? I don't want to use Apple Pay because I have that connected to my personal card, and I want to make sure that I get to write this off and use the company card. And instead of saying, sure, no problem, and swiping the card, he said, just so you know, you can actually add up to 7 credit cards in Apple Pay. I didn't know if you knew that, but you can have more than one in there. I'm like, damn, I didn't know that. Thank you. I went home that night, guys. Guess what I did? I added my other 7 cards into my Apple Pay. That was a huge aha for me, but I went there to buy a dongle. The other thing that the guy said, which I loved, is he said, by the way, did you know that if when you would have come in here, if you would have used the Apple Store app, you could have actually scanned these items and bought them without talking to anyone. Again, I'm like mind blown. I had no idea that was an option at the Apple Store, but I'll probably do it every time moving forward. If you've been to an Apple Store, they're a little bit fucking crowded. So basically, if we communicate with a client about X, it doesn't mean that we can't educate a client about Y and Z. Hey, my data feed is messed up. Hey, I can't log into my account. Hey, I ran a Facebook ad. Can you see how it did? Like, when there's an opportunity to communicate with a customer, continue communicating with them about the other stuff we do. People love little nuggets. People already like and love our company. The way that we build that love and that trust over time is we don't just provide support, we teach. We take every opportunity that we interact with our customers to teach them more than what they came to us asking about. That's what Apple did. I'd love to see us do that too. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Hey, this is Chris. Thanks for listening to my call. If you enjoyed the call, please subscribe right now. Also, share the episode and use the hashtag #CallsWithChris. Every week, I choose a few people randomly to win a free signed copy of the conversion code, my USA Today best-selling book. You can also visit Curaytor.com. That's Curaytor.com to learn more about my company, which is the one I'm running during these calls. We help small businesses grow faster, and we've been featured recently by Inc., Forbes, Fortune, and Entrepreneur Magazine.